Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming to our poster. I'm Tarun Mahajan. This poster is related to our paper which came out in Scientific Reports in January this year. The paper and this poster are titled Internetwork Connectivity of Molecular Networks Across Species of Life. We know that biology is networked within the cell. We have information flow along the central dogmatic view of life where DNA is transcribed into RNA, which is translated into protein. Different species along this flow of information participate in different kinds of molecular interaction networks. For instance, proteins participate in transcriptional regulatory networks where transcription factor proteins affect expression of downstream proteins. Proteins also participate in protein-protein interactions and even metabolic and signaling networks. For our work, we are specifically focusing on transcriptional regulatory network and protein-protein interaction network. So in transcriptional regulatory network, transcription factor proteins bind to the specific regions along the promoter and then can either enhance or suppress expression of mRNA, which is then translated into proteins. Proteins produced as a consequence of the tRNA also participate in protein-protein interaction networks or PPIs. So there, different proteins can interact with each other to form protein complexes which affect various functions within the cell. So we can already see from this diagram that tRNA and PPI are interdependent, they are not independent. And we are calling this interdependent structure of tRNA and PPI a multiplex. So here is an example of a tRNA PPI multiplex, which has been sampled from the human multiplex. On the left-hand side, we have the tRNA. On the right-hand side, we have the PPI. For a given gene in the tRNA, we have a corresponding protein in the PPI. So the nodes here have been color-coded and arranged in size according to the degree of the genes in the tRNA or degree of proteins in the PPI. So network biology has extensively studied tRNA and PPI individually, and we know many things about their properties. For instance, we know that both these networks have heavy tail distribution where most of the genes have low degrees, whereas most of the genes or proteins have low degrees, whereas only a few genes and proteins have very high degrees. So one consequence of this skewed distribution is that when these networks are attacked randomly, they are very robust, but they are highly susceptible to attack on these highly connected genes and proteins. In our work, we are taking a step ahead and we want to look at the joint distribution or joint organization of tRNA and PPI. So with respect to that, we have two hypotheses. The first is that the degree of proteins in PPI and the degrees of genes in tRNA are positively correlated with each other, and this is what we are calling degree-degree coupling. So the hypothesis is that species tRNA and PPI have positive correlation or degree-degree coupling compared to randomly shuffled multiplex where you would expect no coupling. And the consequence is that this positive coupling makes the multiplex robust to targeted attack on genes and proteins in the multiplex. And then robustness, because of that, is quantified by area under the percolation curve, which is looking at the size of the largest connected component in the multiplex as you remove genes and proteins. So the red curve here is for the tRNA PPI multiplex, whereas the blue one is for the randomly shuffled one. The second hypothesis is related to redundant edges or redundant coupling. So redundancy coupling refers to the number of edges which are present in both tRNA and PPI. These are represented by the green edges here. So the hypothesis is that the tRNA PPI multiplex will have high redundancy coupling or high redundant edges compared to a randomly shuffled multiplex. And the consequence of this is that the higher redundancy coupling makes the multiplex more robust compared to the randomly shuffled multiplex. To test these two hypotheses, we collected multiplex data for different species from publicly available databases, which is shown in panel A, where we see that degree-to-degree coupling, redundancy coupling, and robustness across species are positively correlated. In addition to across species analysis, we also did within species analysis, where for each species, we subsampled the multiplex to achieve different values of degree-degree coupling or redundancy coupling. And we found that as degree-degree coupling increases and redundancy coupling increases, most of the species see an increase in robustness. So both the analysis, the within species and across species, shows that degree-degree coupling, redundancy coupling are correlated with robustness of the multiplex. After this, the another question that we wanted to ask is whether this coupling, multiplex coupling, also affects functionally important genes and proteins. So for that, we collected genes related to diseases and genes which participate in pathogen-related PPI interactions from publicly available databases. And we found that disease-related and pathogen-related genes have high redundancy coupling compared to a random set of genes and proteins sampled from the multiplex. And this in turn leads to the fact that if we remove these disease-related genes or pathogen-related genes from the multiplex, the network dismantles or the multiplex dismantles and breaks down very quickly compared to removing a set of randomly selected genes and proteins. And this is shown by negative value of the robustness, which means that attacking disease-related and protein pathogen-related genes and protein breaks down the multiplex faster. So in conclusion, we have three key findings from our work. First is that species multiplex are non-randomly coupled. The second is this coupling is positively correlated with robustness. And finally, the multiplex coupling and robustness are correlated with functionally important genes and proteins. Now, what are the future directions based on these conclusions? One thing is that the coupling values that we saw were not absolutely maximum. So what could be the reason for that? So one thing is that if coupling were to be maximum, then the amount of uniqueness between the two network layers would be reduced. So there could be a balance between coupling and independence. Another thing is other factors which could affect this could be controllability, navigability, other multiplex or network properties. Another line of research is to look at other network layers like mRNA, microRNA interaction, and metabolic networks, include that in the multiplex analysis. And finally, we are also interested to see how multiplex properties are correlated with structures of gene expression fluctuation across single cells. Finally, I would like to acknowledge my supervisor, Dr. Roy Dar, and other members of the Dar Lab. Thank you so much for coming to our poster. Have a lovely day.